With 50 plus years of combined produce, supply chain, entrepreneurial, and business experience, Craig, Slate, and Ed Bertaud discuss the impacts of fresh produce on their lives and health. This podcast is a casual conversation between two friends just trying to get better. This is the Fresh CrEd.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, all depending on where you're listening from. You are now listening to the Fresh CrEd podcast with Craig Slate and Ed Bertaud. Hello, Mr. Bertaud. How are you, sir?
Hello, hello. How are you?
Oh, buddy, can you feel it? I'm great. An excellent day. And you're doing well, you say?
I'm great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to a morning podcast.
Yeah, I like these morning podcasts. I'm a little more juiced on the morning podcast. And then it's been a couple of weeks for us. We've taken some time off. Our producers were, lounging around. Couldn't get them to the mic. So, but lots changed in the last couple of weeks, bud. There's a new baby in the Slate family.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Been on the road a little bit. I'm back in Tucson. Thrilled to be here. It's nice and green. Amazing how green it is here based on we've gotten so much stinking rain. Set records for the month of July, actually. So it looks like Ireland out here.
I highly doubt that.
No, I'm telling you, Ireland is where it looks like, buddy. Does not feel like Ireland, but it certainly has the Emerald Hills.
The Emerald Coast.
That's it. That's it. So what's going on in your world, bud? What have you been up to? Anything exciting? I mean, 2 weeks, you're bound to have a ton of material for today's show.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same. A lot of exciting, a lot of new things. Nice and quiet today. I've been on the road quite a bit, but when I'm home, we've got a crew doing some repairs in the house. So yeah, I'll be sitting in here and I hear banging pretty much 8 hours of the day outside, hammering on the roof. So
I thought you were the crew there at that house. I thought you were like the remodel man.
I know my limitations, buddy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I know my limitations. You didn't know those. I didn't know you did.
I know my limitations. And that's definitely where I draw the line is roofing.
Oh, yeah. Even if you know how to do that, draw the line.
Yeah.
No fun. Did that as a wee child. I did that one summer up in Dallas before I took off for college. In fact, doing that, it wasn't just roofing. We just did all construction from blowing insulation in a 300-degree attic to roofing in Dallas. Anyway, it was the best way to prepare for college because you learn real quick that whatever I do, this is not going to be something I want to do for a long time. It's hot in Dallas.
Well, it sounds like I should have called you for at least some consulting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not thinking you were going to grab a hammer or anything, but maybe some consulting.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They had my job was just toting the stinking shingles on the roof. That's pretty much the extent of what I did. So if you needed consulting on toting them up, I could have told you that. But
well, these shingles in particular, and I didn't put this roof on the house, but came with the house, are the concrete, like a concrete flat shingle.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think the top of the roof's like 30-something feet, so they need to be put on right or repaired correctly, should I say. I think if one falls, it's probably going to put somebody out.
Yeah, so you're not re-roofing the entire house, just a couple of repairs.
They're doing repairs, and then we were still working on repairs from the hurricane. I had tarps on the side, so the house is brick on the bottom, and then on the gables on the side it has siding, and then on the dormers of the top story. So for the longest time, we just couldn't get anybody to do the work because there was such a high demand for construction crews, right? Shortly after the hurricane. So we waited and still couldn't get anybody to do it. And then, it's a pretty big job, but not like building a whole house. So we'd get interest, folks would show up and then give me a price, and then I couldn't get hold of them anymore. So we finally got somebody And then with hurricane season well underway, I was getting nervous. I really wanted to wait. Then the construction materials spiked. So we're trying to hold off for that. And then, obviously hurricane season, you got to get things buttoned up. So we're getting buttoned up.
All right. Well, good. Button that dude on up all the way up to the Adam's apple and be ready to go, buddy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I don't. Roofing is as interesting as that is for everybody. let's get into the meat of the matter. I think we need to start off baby talk first.
All right. Well, how about who won the pool?
Let me think. Did we calculate? See, what was we thinking? Who won the pool? Mason, are you with us today? I'm curious. Do you know who won the pool, buddy?
I am here. Much to my dismay, the winner of the pool on when Baby Violet would be arriving is none other than Craig Slate.
Oh, baby. And you know what? I think no one on this call or even the people listening in had any doubt who was going to win that pool.
I had a lot of doubt.
No one doubted. I know I did not doubt, and what's even more amazing, which nobody believed me, when I booked the airfare. So I booked the tickets to fly in weeks in advance, Ed. I was so dialed in to when Baby Violet was going to arrive. I've already got this connection with her, and I was able to book my flights. And then you guys got suckered into a sucker bet, thinking you actually could pick the day. I mean, sorry guys, sorry, but you know what?
Apparently, you're a wee bit psychic.
I'm
just a little bit.
His new name is going to be Clairvoyant Craig.
Oh, I love it, Clairvoyant Craig. I think that's ideal.
I could see the thumbnail now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're getting like a crystal ball in front of you, Craig.
No, you got to look back on some old Johnny Carson. So Johnny Carson used to do this skit, and he had I think they called him Sammy or Sami. He put the letter up on his head. You don't know who Johnny Carson is, but
isn't he a talk show host?
No, he had a night show, right?
Yeah, he was the original. I mean, he wasn't the original Tonight Show. He was actually Jack Parr was the original Tonight Show. Then came Johnny Carson. Then came Jay Leno.
All right, so let's see how bad this looks. Swami,
that was his name. Swami.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's.
I don't know how well that tracks now.
Oh, is that right? We can't do Swami no more?
I'm putting you in that hat, though. That's for sure. That's crazy.
Well, Craig, for the record,
yes,
my debt's been paid. I Zelled you your winnings.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Ed, you are a man of your word, and I appreciate that. Thank you for delivering the do-re-mi. I'm sure Mason's...
I
was recovering... Go ahead, Ed. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, with your winnings, go ahead and grab you a case of wine, of your favorite wine.
Oh, yeah. For $20 or $40.
Or buy
case am I getting?
Violet.
What kind of wine am I getting for that?
Well, I think what we had... first and foremost, Craig, I will Zell you the $20. And for everybody listening...
So hang on. Wait, Mason. So you're going to Zell me? Is there going to be like a congratulation note or anything with that? Like...
Oh, yeah. I'll put some real nice stuff in there for you. I believe that the initial thing that I told that the money was going to be put towards was going to be buying some crypto for Violet, and then, we'll let that mature.
That is the plan. So I'm trying to decide, though, obviously I could buy a fair amount of Doge, certainly compared to the other cryptos, but I'm just not sure Doge will be around when she gets to college.
I don't think it's the long-term play. I would say like going level 3, some Cardano or Polkadot or Ethereum. Either of those.
I'm leaning towards Ethereum, but the one that's sure to be here is Bitcoin. Even though it wouldn't be much of a coin, it'll still be here. So I'm my plan is to take that and probably double up my winnings or something and contribute it to the Violet Foundation for education.
Good.
So
she got here at 8:29 a.m. Saturday. You stink, Dad. I can't believe it.
So for the people listening, the original bet, so Laura had said Thursday, I had said Friday, Craig had Saturday, and Ed had Sunday. Laura goes into labor super early Friday morning, maybe 12:30, right? And she labors throughout the entire course of the day till finally about 8:30ish. She's fully dilated, basically, and like this baby's coming out.
Okay, but wait. I need to interject here
Go for
it. I do believe it's on recording that I said that she would wait on me to get there. I think I said that on the recording.
I think you did, actually.
I mean, we'll have to look back, but go ahead, Mason.
That's one way to think of it.
Continue.
In actuality, Violet being pushed a week and a half past her due date, because she was originally supposed to grace us with her presence on the 26th.
Yeah.
Laura's like a champion, just birthing or going through labor, and I'm watching the minutes slip by because there's a digital clock, and I'm like, look, 9:30, we're in the tub, and I'm like, I've got this in the bag. Because the worst, it's not about the money, it's about the bragging rights that Craig is now going to abuse for the
rest of Violet's life,
however many years. Yeah, like we've got.
Your pappy knew when you were coming.
Oh my gosh, she's getting a shirt for that. She'll have to wear a shirt that said, "Yeah, my pappy picked it."
But needless to say, so yeah, we go over. Craig and Tanya did come. Like I missed Tanya's text, and I just hear the door open to the birthing center. It's like 10 something or 11.
I look up and there's Mom and Dad, and I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
It was such a surprise, and I was so glad that they could be there. Like,
yeah. You know what y'all should do? Kind of like a swear jar. Same concept. Every time he brings it up, he needs to deposit some cash in there.
That's a great idea.
But it all goes towards Violet's education or extracurriculars or something.
Yeah,
nice. I'm good with that.
That'll keep him in check.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. One way to slow me up for sure via the wallet. But yeah, so Ed, I gotta tell you, so when Laney's older, I'm just telling you, as a dad, it was a new experience, right? Because I'm assuming you were present for your kids' birthing. Is that correct?
Sure.
And so
yeah, both.
That was certainly a new deal compared to our parents. Back in, I know for my father, they barely up the dads to the hospital. Much less in the room, and now they just bring the whole family in. And of course, we were at the birthing center, a little bit different, right? But it's like, hey, we're all here. So for me, it was a different experience, but one that I got to tell you, I was thrilled to be part of. I did get to shoot some video, which was a little tricky, trying to keep it G-rated there, and it's really hard when, we're in the midst of trying to get this baby out after, I think Laura was at 24 hours by the time we got there. So she'd been at it a while. But anyway, I can just tell you, get ready. The world's in so many ways, and now having babies is, change. It's like we've gone back in time. But even back in the 1800s when they were doing, the natural childbirth thing, they kept dad in the living room. You stay in there. Hey, you put some water on, get a newspaper or something like that. They had, I don't know what kind of chores they put dad to, but it certainly wasn't
hot water.
Yeah.
I could not have done it without Mason, though. Like, I wouldn't have made it 12 hours in without Mason. Like, he surpassed every expectation, he was constantly giving me counter pressure for my contractions, telling me that I was doing a good job, being kind, like making sure that I was getting what I needed, and he was advocating for me. And when it came time to make the really hard decision to go to the hospital when she wasn't going to be able to come out, he was the one who was like, yeah, that's what we need to do at this point, because I wasn't ready to throw in the towel. And
please don't talk to my wife, because I don't know, I've been accused, I can't remember that far back, but apparently I've been accused of going to Denny's next door to the hospital after I checked her in. So yeah,
But it was
Super
a
Mason,
time.
Super Mason over there might not do me much good. But so I heard tub. Let's subvert the conversation. Is the tub where you busted your grill, Mason? Because I heard there's some. I mean, was there fainting involved or?
I did faint. This is postpartum. Baby's already here.
Well, she was 1 week old.
She was 1 week old.
It was the effects of all those 9 months of pregnancy. Mason finally succumbed to all the stress,
all the pressure. I was like,
the
all
pressure
right, it's over. No, it's the damnedest thing, really. So Saturday morning, I wake up. I'm outside. I've got my cup of coffee, hitting the old vape, and I'm sitting there, and we've got these old rinky-dink chairs that Laura got. They're like super old vintage, and they kind of cut into my legs. So it's like if you sit on the toilet for too long, your legs will go kind of numb. So I start to feel the on, like that's coming on. I'm like, okay, been out here long enough. I stand up, and I'm stretching, and I'm feeling good. I got the sunlight on me, and I'm pulling my shoulder blades back to try and pop my sternum, because that's something that I do every now and then. And I get to a point where I'm getting up. I feel stuff in my mouth, and I've basically collapsed on our front porch, busted up my teeth real bad, chipped one right in half. Like I've got the temporary stuff going on right up here, so my crowns will be in very soon.
And I'm inside holding a baby next to the window. I hear a crash. I look out. Mason is like twitching on the ground. Here I am with a week-old baby. Like, oh great,
my partner's dead.
My partner's dead. We're gonna do this.
Good luck with the baby.
So I put her down, and I go out there as he's getting up, and I'm like, whew, okay, like he's able to stand. But then he's like, I think I messed up my teeth, and he's like bleeding from his head. Yeah. Like it
fell on concrete. We don't have pillows out there, so
yeah.
It was.
Poor guy.
Wow.
But yeah, went to the ER. Everything's all right. I may be slightly anemic. I'm gonna follow up with the GP later on. But yeah, it was sucked, man. Just what I did not need. There's more medical bills.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Mason's racking up the medical bills as quickly as he possibly can inside of 7 days.
Yeah. Well, we ended up, Laura kind of mentioned it. We went to the hospital to have a C-section birth because Violet just was not coming out. And at that point, Laura, she'd been up for well over 30-something hours, 26 of those hours in immense contractional pain. And so we paid the birth center, and then now we're going to pay the hospital, and I've got to pay the hospital for my ER visit, and then the dentist. So we're doing great.
Wow. Well, Laura, that's a heck of a way to get into intermittent fasting. I mean, 30-something hours. That's just full on fasting.
I was trying to eat, but every time I would eat, it would like come up like acid reflux. It was awful. Yeah, it was really.
We will. Yeah, we don't need to get into all the details of the whole experience but
I will say that stoicism, taking deep breaths, focusing on what I was in control of, and like my mindset was everything. I knew that like I would have a contraction and it would pass and it would be okay, and that the pain was temporary and it just was what it was, and I couldn't get away from it. I just had to let it exist within me. You know what I mean? And like looking back, it's like, yeah, it was painful, but at the same time, it was just an experience, that was temporary. And here I am 2 weeks later, not in pain, I'm fine. But it taught me a lot about the strength of my mind and like what I am able to handle. It was really cool.
That's awesome. And you
I've
can
never
definitely
seen anything like it.
And you can definitely handle accidents around the house. I was thinking about how scary those types of things are when you have a newborn. When Lainey was born, we lived out in the country, in the rural area, and I was in town with Bryce, and Callie calls me and says, she was home, I don't know, a week or two, and she had a pair of jeans hanging over like the clothes rod in her closet, and she had thrown them on, I think, because somebody was delivering something, and there was a scorpion in the jeans, stung her like 4 or 5 times before she could get them off. And yeah, I mean, she was concerned that maybe she'd have an allergic reaction and pass out. And, Lainey's, a couple weeks old. So I remember doing like 100 miles an hour back home. And Bryce was little. He's like 9 years old. He's like, what's going on? He was having fun. Like we're freaking Indy racing, down the highway.
He thought it was great.
Anyway, she was okay.
So no scorpions. Well, Violet is beautiful, exciting. She was 8 pounds 2 ounces, so she's like I think I talked to you before, almost ready for first grade. So she was quite the gal. So outstanding and doing well. I think we got a chance to see her 2 or 3 times while we were there in Big D, and super excited. So congrats, Mason, Laura, for sure. And
yes,
you guys,
congratulations.
you're going to have the time of your life. I can promise you that.
Thanks.
Well, Ed,
I've got a quote,
yes?
But it reminded me of something that I was listening to an interview with Rob Lowe, of all people, but he was talking about staying youthful. And we're talking about babies, obviously, super youthful. And now, I'm hoping you continue to stay youthful. I mean, you look pretty good for a pappy, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, where's this going? Where is this going?
No, I just thought it was kind of, he said, look, the characteristics of young people are curious, enthusiastic, active, interesting, and not checked out. So when he was asked, how do you stay youthful? He thinks about all those characteristics of young people. I think his dad was ill or something, and they were talking about how it affected his, life in later years. But I think it's a good reminder.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. And as long as he didn't include color, dark hair or anything in that characterization, because that's where I get killed. The Snow White hairdo, beard, and hair, that puts about 20 years on you right there. But no, like I say,
it's better gray than gone away, they say.
Yes, sir. Amen to that. So, although I don't know, there's some, Telly Savalas for some listeners. Some people don't know who that is. I know you do. He rocked that bald head pretty deadgum well. I mean, who knows how old that guy was? Him and that lollipop.
Mm-hmm.
So, all you kids, Google Telly Savalas. He was a badass.
Kojak,
my man. Kojak. That's it. So you said you got a quote. So what you got this week on the quote of the week?
I had a lot to choose from. Been watching Alone quite a bit. There's a good one at the beginning of every episode. This one actually came, I think my wife forwarded me this one. She's been listening, even though I told her not to listen because she holds it against me, whatever I say. But my quote of the week, pretty simple. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I agree. I think that's I'm not going to comment on the NBA, but I think you see that in sports. That happens.
Well, interestingly enough, there's some controversy as to who said it first, but apparently Tim Notke, he was a high school basketball coach, was said to say it first in like in a pep talk to his team, but Kevin Durant made it popular.
Gotcha. All right. Cool.
What do you got?
Well, I think that's good, my friend. Well, here is mine. So our journey, this is by Ram Dass, by the way. Our journey is about being more deeply involved in life, yet less attached to it. And that, just so you know, I'm going to read it again, then I'll give you the kind of what that means. Our journey is about being more deeply involved in life and yet less attached to it. Basically, it's saying love everything but be attached to nothing. And I'd mentioned, and I'll give you, this when you get into it deeply, this is a challenge because everything is temporary, right? Friendships, family, loved ones, cars, houses, everything's temporary. And so I think about, my new studio here, which is where, Granger during the COVID was back home with us and spent here a year, and he moved up back up to ASU about a week ago. And so he's vacated the room. And so I got a new studio, and, I'm pretty close with all my kids, but certainly Granger and I, being into snowboarding and soccer and all the different stuff that we're into, we've spent a lot of time together. So not easy to not have him here and have him back to school. I'm thrilled he's back and he's up with some of his really good friends. But, it's one of those deals where you can't be attached to people, right? You've got to live your life, love the moment, love them, but understand that, everything's temporary. Kids being at your house and growing up and moving on, you've got to realize that enjoy the time you got, but nothing is permanent. And it's kind of timely with young Mason and Laura and their new one. I know Laura, for her first time, she was telling the story about taking off to the grocery store. First time, 9 months with Violet inside and 2 weeks with Violet out. It's the reality of it is it's tough when you go away for a couple hours and come back for the first time. But once the kids grow up and it becomes a phone call or they travel across, you can't let yourself get too attached because eventually everybody goes away. So just love it, love the time, love the moment. I thought
kind
it was
of a downer.
Really. But you see, you can take it that way, but you shouldn't take it that way. I mean,
Laura's over here sighing. She's like, "Oh,
wow, sounds great. Sign me up."
But the motivation over here, man.
It's the reality, right? So you can spend your time thinking everything is for here forever and miss the moment that's here, or you can be realistic and recognize that it's all temporary, and you better love it, enjoy it while you got it.
I think that We Croak app is getting to you.
I'm glad you brought up the We Croak because it croaked.
What?
That's not. Yeah.
You mean you don't like
bad.
to be reminded every day of your mortality? Come on.
I don't. I do enough of that myself. The reminding of mortality. I think about that myself without any kind of an app. But their quotes weren't really that great, and it's like 3 times a day, and so everybody. I don't know if anybody tried that. I got some feedback from some listeners that they thought that was a dumb idea anyway. So gotta give it a try. You never know. And you're laughing. Why are you laughing? What's so dadgum funny? Huh?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Gee, an app that reminds you 3 times a day that you're going to die is a bad idea. Wow. I can't keep up with my WhatsApp, Discord, email, text, personal email, and then that. Yeah, I knew right away I wasn't going to sign up. No offense.
Anyway, not the best app out there. And good news was it didn't cost me anything, so didn't have to buy it. But
now if you can give me an app that'll keep me from getting my truck broken into, I'd sign up for that because this last week I was on the road. It's been now over the course of many years, probably 4 or 5 times that I've been broken into and tried all different things between, the club and the club that you put on your steering wheel and different alarm systems and, thieves, crooks, burglars, whatever you want to call them. They just get more and more resourceful. So kind of blew my mind when I brought my truck back to where I have it repaired.
Right.
the guy who was helping me out, he's like, what year is it? I tell him, he says, oh yeah, that one's really easy to break into. I'm thinking, okay, great. Like, aren't we supposed to be moving, like improving on design? And he's like, I bet you if we pull the door handle, because it was still working. He said, if we pull the door handle and you see like the teeth marks of either vice grips or channel locks, I know exactly what happened. So apparently these guys on this particular year truck, and I won't teach anybody how to do this, but they just pull the door handle and they're able to clamp onto this tubular portion and just wrench on it, and it just clicks the door open. And my truck has an alarm. Alarm didn't go off, but even worse, on top of all of that,
why would the alarm go off?
Is that apparently that's like a bypass of somehow. Yeah, I mean, it was just a factory alarm. It's not like it's some high end aftermarket alarm.
Well, it could be that was it like a cable that basically unlatches the door that they're gripping onto?
No, it's hard to describe, but the handle, it's kind of like a big chrome handle, and the portion that is like connected to the inner mechanism rod is like it's like just a tube. It's a horizontal tube that feeds from the door handle to the rod that actuates up and down. And apparently when they twist it, it's just like basically bypassing the handle. So
dang,
did we lose Craig?
Quick plug, T-Mobile has a device that there's a lot of them out there, but basically it goes into the OBD sensor on your truck, and it'll text you and let you know if your door is being opened, or if it's been hit in a parking lot, stuff like that. So it's kind of like a silent alarm. If you wanted something like that way you could rush out. Or
wow, yeah. Well, that would have been a bad scene if I would have rushed out, because I was
packing.
That would have I thought about it. I was like, well, I mean, it's not worth shooting somebody over, but I sure as heck would have liked to scare the crap out of them. And the worst feeling is I walked out, and this has happened to me before, and it never dawns on you, because you're in a hurry. I was headed to a meeting, and it was an early morning. It was I had to be somewhere at 6 a.m. So I got up at 4:30, and I walked out to my truck, and a pullover that I had left in the truck was on the ground. And I thought, man, I'm pretty OCD. I don't just leave stuff hanging around. I check, double check, triple check, twirl around 3 times, look again in case anything's changed. And I just don't do that. So I picked it up, dusted it off, threw it in the back of the back seat, and then I went around to the passenger side, and my change tray and everything inside my console was all gone. And at the end of the day, the weirdest thing is, I had nothing super valuable, but there was a power bank in there. There was a skinning knife. There was even the change. There was a pair of binoculars I had in my console. They grabbed this go bag I have with like cold weather gear, like some bibs and one of my favorite jackets. It's the only thing that really made me mad. And it was covered with like a moving blanket. So they were going to go in no matter what. You can't see in my truck at night. And that's all they took. And then just left me a headache, basically to get it fixed. So anyway, long story short, auto burglaries stink. And now with municipalities being so busy, they don't even send, anybody. You do like an online police report. That's about the best you're going to get. So you feel violated, underserved, just basically all the way around, just pissed off.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
but you weren't hurt.
It's about as encouraging as your. It's about as encouraging as a weak row cap.
That's true. Well, at least you weren't hurt.
Do you have any cameras, Ed?
Cameras
he was at
on my vehicle? I was at a hotel.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I missed that part.
Yeah, I was at a hotel.
So no.
Yeah, no.
Beautiful McAllens.
I'd leave my doors open where I live. It's no problem. It was at a hotel. Yeah,
they have.
I would, and I have had talked to people that get broken into at their home. I don't know what I would just go nuts. Like that'd be next level. I can almost deal with being away from home at a hotel or anything, but folks that I've talked to that actually get their stuff broken into at home, yeah, I don't know if I could deal with that.
All right. Well, hey, so as I'm looking through trying to catch up on where we've been and what's been going on since we've been out a few weeks. We got any responses from any podcast out there we should talk about?
I think we've gotten some good responses. I sent out a cap this week. They should be getting it. If not already received it, maybe Monday.
All right.
So I'm sporting a sample right now. You know, we had different colors, so this is one that I probably wouldn't make anybody wear, this yellow. But you get the idea. There are others. I only have a couple to show, but other colors. And I've sent one out. So, yeah.
So we need to have, before, because we're about to get a flood for the cap request. I can just feel it after they see you sporting that one, because I think this is the first time you brought the Fresh CrEd cap. So, don't everybody go crazy.
We're going to get a flood.
We've got a limited supply.
Limited.
So, we've got 2 or 3 already going out. We got one that's going out. I got another one scheduled to go out. But reach out through either our LinkedIn pages or via the Fresh CrEd Twitter,
email or YouTube, the YouTube chat.
Yeah, so
right.
We'll get you a cap. So, but first come, first serve. But yeah, no, the feedback continues to be, good. I mean, for me, it's exciting. One of the things I was talking to a friend of mine this week, and he was telling me how much weight change he had and how much better he was feeling. Actually, over the course, I had 2 different friends commenting the same comment. One has gone to massive fasting, which is my best friend from high school, and he eats once a day. But and it's not eat whatever you want once a day. He actually is eating, salads and stuff. I mean, his once a day meal is generally pretty healthy. But it's been some dramatic changes for him, from medication, from just how he feels overall. And this other friend of mine, has lost, wasn't a big guy, but lost a considerable amount of weight, and just talking about how well he feels and how much, eating better and eating more. I asked, kind of what was the biggest thing, and he talked about just really focusing on what he's eating's been the big deal. He has started exercising on a much more regular basis, but really what he's putting in his body, what he's consuming, the fresh vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, making a big difference for him. And he's in the business, but cut a few things out, probably, changed up. But I don't know, for me, it's that's exciting to hear some of these folks coming back with the feedback on clean eating as we talk about it, and the effects that it's having. So keep banging that drum and getting the message out. So certainly that was some good feedback that I'd received personally, but I don't know about on your end.
I've got a little bit of the same. I think particularly on the intermittent fasting, I've not done anything that would be considered more than that. But when you talk about eating right, when you do eat, I think the few folks that have, have confirmed what I've said, which is basically when you're eating healthy and your system is, on empty, and when you feed it and you feed it the right food, the feeling the effect of, the nutrients or the benefit is pretty amazing. When you're eating and grazing and over the day, it's kind of hard for me at least, to kind of differentiate. Of course, if you just choose to eat healthy, then you shouldn't have any problems. But when you sprinkle in a donut or a fried chocolate pie or a Twinkie or whatever, it's probably messing up the kind of the balance of what you're eating and what's doing you good. So yeah, that's encouraging. It's good to hear.
Well, and the evidence, I mean, a podcast I was listening to yesterday, journeying back and forth to Phoenix, but caloric restriction is just coming back more and more from a longevity standpoint, and animal studies that they've done. And just like I say, this podcast gets into a whole bunch of different stuff, but boy, the evidence around, restricting caloric intake, really a lot of evidence that certainly helps improve I say certainly, a lot of things point to that being a real key to longevity, right? Or, and certainly improving your health. So, being able to restrict and taking time off from those calories allows your body to do a lot of things maintenance wise, that I think that I don't know. I am a big believer. I guess for me, fasting's probably from a health standpoint, at some level is probably one of the best things you can try and do. It absolutely forces you to restrict your calories. If you only eat a couple of times a day or whatever in a certain window, even if nothing good happens in the hours that you're not eating, which I actually think there's things that are going on good, but you're forcing yourself to only eat between a window, you're automatically going to reduce your calories. And then if you start to change how well you eat during those hours, then it just compounds itself. So,
yeah. And I talk a lot like it's easy to do, but I couldn't do it without drinking coffee.
Yeah, I would say I'm in the same boat. Coffee or tea. I've got to have something to drink. Coffee, tea, or wine. That would be the other third one.
Well, once you've drank wine, you're not fasting.
Seriously?
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I was a faster when I was a young man. And speaking of my best friend from high school, and he and I were reminiscing, and we were super thin guys. We were quite the dance hall regular, so we danced. We got an enormous amount of exercise on the dance floor, but we didn't know it then, but we were originally fasting. I mean, we lived on Coors and Corndogs, and really not that many corn dogs. So dancing, Coors, and Corndogs might be an answer as well, because we were certainly go-getters.
Wow.
And very thin. Super thin. But
that sounds like a product line right there, Coors and Corndogs. Apparel or a restaurant or something, at least at the Texas State Fair.
Yeah, exactly. Coors, Corndogs. Something need a C for dancing, cutting a rug. Coors, Corndogs, and cutting rugs. That's my new beer joint.
Yeah. Stand back, Tucson.
Yeah, look out. Here we come.
Speaking of coffee, though, can I share with you the most exciting thing I've discovered this week?
Please. I'm dying to hear what the most exciting thing you discovered.
Black Rifle Coffee.
What?
Black Rifle Coffee. I'm in love with this company.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, it's a pretty cool product. I mean, the company's veteran owned, and I've heard of them. I had heard of them before, right? They've been around since 2017, but they happen. Oh, well, I got a Black Rifle T-shirt on. Black Rifle Coffee.
Holy cow, you are full in, aren't you?
Oh yeah, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. So, they have a shop in San Antonio. So they're based out of Salt Lake City, but they have a shop in San Antonio. And I was in town this week, and me and a couple coworkers decided to go over there in between meetings and fuel up on some coffee. And I had struggled with making something strong enough at home. I was using all different concentrations, and with this stuff I don't have to worry about. Now, I've never had Death Wish coffee. I've never tasted it.
I have
some here at home. But this Black Rifle Coffee, I mean, they have mild roasts to all the way to what they call like pre-workout coffee even. And so there's different. I bought a kind of a variety pack and some T-shirts. But it's it's strong enough to where if I make a cup or if I make a pot, like I'm satisfied with how strong it is. So I'm super excited, and it's a cool place. What I thought was pretty bold of them is that it's clear that they planted that shop 2 doors down from a Starbucks. Yeah, that's either super intentional or a huge oversight. But it was, there were plenty of customers there. Let's put it that way.
So it's there in McAllen?
No, it's in San Antonio.
San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah, it's in San Antonio. I think it would do well here.
Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, they have a lot of cool gear, shirts, caps. They have a great, marketing group apparently. And then
apparently,
French presses
all
and
merged up.
Instant coffees. They even had something I hadn't seen before, which was like a bag, almost like a tea, like a bag for tea, but coffee. And you put it, when you can't make a full pot or if you're on the road or whatever. So, yeah, pretty cool. I'm a big fan.
That is,
I've had a couple
you
this
have to
morning.
send me a little of that. You never did send. So you never did send me those. You were going to send me some shooters. So maybe when you send those shooters of that stuff we talked about like 10 episodes, those ginger shots, you were going to send me some of that so you can maybe box up a whole package, like a care package for Craig.
Well, I think the shooters I never did because they were they have to be refrigerated. But yeah, the coffee doesn't. So we'll see.
Right.
We'll see for your birthday or Christmas or something.
Right after you watch Molly.
I'll tell you what. Take those $20 you won off of me and buy you some coffee.
So I can buy it online. Is that what you guys saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. But anyway, Black Rifle Coffee.
That was for Violet's college education. Now
try it.
Coffee for me.
You'll like it.
Okay. And that was a paid ad, folks. So
hey, if it gets me a sample of some on the forefront of the the new releases, sure. You know what? Since I'm talking about coffee, let me talk about something else real quick that I tried this week.
Okay, well, you know what? Just roll
the
with
Brew
it.
Doctor Kombucha. I don't know if you can see that or not, but Brew Doctor Kombucha. You know how I like probiotics and
yeah.
I mean, I'm not crazy about kombucha, and a lot of them are kind of funky, but this one was rosemary mint sage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it. It's a new one. Try it.
Does it feel like it's helping your internals out?
Always.
Nice. I'll have to check it out. I can't think of the name of the brand that I use, but yeah, I'll look into that. I am a kombucha fan, but you got to be a kombucha fan. You got to look for make sure they don't have sugar added. Some of those they put sugar in there.
Wine
tastes better. Pardon me. Yeah.
We agreed that every time you talked about something having sugar, I'm just going to say wine, and you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's right. God, I forgot about that code word thing we had in there. Sorry.
One more item, actually. 1877 HEB mineral water.
You're not going to have any food talk.
Oh, boy. I'll have plenty. Anyway, this stuff is really good. 1877 mineral water, HEB. It's a HEB private label mineral water. I like the colors. Actually kind of matches today.
That's not from the Garza family?
No. That'll be on next week.
Okay.
Maybe I'll get some samples out of it.
Yeah, we should hit those guys up for like an ad sponsor or something. We'll push that water.
It's a good idea.
So, well, I don't have any outstanding. You've given enough product listing for everybody that they don't need that from me. But I do think So when the baby was here came in and we were in town. Tanya thought it would be an outstanding idea for us to make up some meals for the kids so they wouldn't have to cook. So we did a combination, made ourselves something and then made some extras for them. And, one of the things that we had talked about on a previous show, which was the quiche. I think we debated whether it was a quiche or something else, but I think it did get confirmed to be a quiche because it has a crust. Anyway, I think, Mason, if you want to comment on it just real quick, because I think that you enjoyed the quiche.
What's he going to say? He didn't like it? Come on.
No.
You're really setting yourself up for a pat on the back.
I'm telling you right now. So if Mason didn't like it, he would absolutely tell me, hey, Craig, I didn't like it. I can assure you he would not sugarcoat anything for me.
Craig hates sugar unless it's in wine, so I wouldn't dare. No, Yeah, the quiche. Well, and just to kind of set the standard, I love quiche. That's probably one of my favorites. I get one every time I go to La Madeleine. So I was pretty excited when Craig said, "Hey, brought you the quiche thing or frittata," which it is a quiche because it has a crust. Really good, jam packed. I mean, just with vegetables. He put in some Kairobi.
No, kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi.
But the beautiful thing is he thought they were potatoes. He said, "Man, the potatoes were outstanding."
Great.
It's like there were no potatoes in there, bud.
So yeah, Craig thought he was pulling a couple fast ones. Yeah, they also brought us this really delicious shepherd's pie, which had mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes, and that was the standout of that dish. Very, very good. But yeah, that quiche was phenomenal. I still want the recipe, and that's definitely something we should post. We should put that out there for the listeners because I mean you got to try it, especially if you haven't had kohlrabi. It's my first time. Phenomenal.
That's my mission here is to get people to check out the kohlrabi. I mean, and even if you're not putting in a quiche, you can dice. You peel it, dice. It's a little bit. It's not necessarily an easy product to get prepared. It's kind of like dealing with butternut squash and stuff like that. I mean, it's a little bit of a challenge, but
I like it roasted, but I like everything roasted.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You can roast it. You can, take some onions and some diced kohlrabi, olive oil and salt, put it in the oven in a cast iron pan. And it's like eating diced potatoes, but it's super low carbohydrate, right? Super low carbohydrate. I think it's of the cabbage family, but anyway, I'm on a mission. And J&D, if you guys want to sponsor us, then we'll talk about your kohlrabi. I know Mr. Bassetti over there is a big kohlrabi fan as well, so... yeah. Anyway,
look at us just lining up the sponsors.
We are, man. This. I told you it's going to be a great show. We're coming out of here. Go ahead, Mason.
Yeah, I was just going to get all the sponsors or potential sponsors out there listening. Please give us your money.
Mason's got doctor bills to pay, so he really could use a sponsor for doctor bills. Anybody that.
I mean, those deductibles are met, though, that's for sure.
There's no sales strategy like brutal honesty.
But yeah, I'm at the point where I'm going to go ahead and recommend to all the listeners as well that just don't buy any more squash. Whatever you do, switch solely over to kohlrabi.
Okay, wait a second. You have lost your damn mind. Okay, cancel Mason.
Just kidding.
Oh, that can be edited.
Anyway, so Ed, did you moving on as we're talking health? We talked about what we're eating and all the great stuff. You've been doing your meditation?
Micro napping, you mean?
What? No. What
Look,
do you mean?
I haven't done guided meditation. I was curious. I mean, I'd have to imagine that some folks are. I mean, if you're super tired. Tell me this, and you try to meditate, wouldn't you fall asleep? If you're tired enough?
I mean, yeah, that could, yeah. But like say for me, it's the first thing I do in the morning.
Before coffee?
Before coffee, actually, yes.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do anything before coffee.
Take a cold shower, come out, and meditate. You'll be awake.
Yeah, cold showers.
I'm telling you.
I'm not there yet. The funny thing is,
have you tried a cold shower? Have you even done it?
My grandfather took cold showers, and we used to make, us kids, me and my brother particularly, would make fun of the fact that he took cold showers. He lived to like 98.
Nice. Make fun of your grandfather.
How much? He was like 98 years old. He lived to 98, and I think he was eating cake the last time I saw him for dinner. Because at that point the doctor's like, just let him eat whatever he wants. He was
let them eat cake.
Yeah. So he, I don't know if you can attribute that long life to cold showers, but we just thought he was kind of cheap and didn't want to use hot water, and I'm not so convinced that that's not your.
Well, it would be, that could be, but we have the new hot water on demand, so it's really not that expensive. It's not like I'm cranking out a hot water tank anymore. So.
Okay.
But, cold shower, bud. I mean, and again, I've dialed it back. I used to. Well, we talked about that. I mean, I used to take. That was all. I took 100% cold shower. It's now my wake up shower. So it's what I used to wake up. I'm in there for a couple of minutes, try and get chilled off, get my head right, and then start my day. So, because usually I wind up running after that cold shower. So, and then I have to come back and take a real shower. But at least do this.
All right, let's hear it.
Do like an ice bucket challenge. In other words, don't turn it on and get in there after it's ready to go. Get in there and just turn that dude on, standing right underneath the shower, and just have that water punch you in the dadgum face.
Okay, and if I have a heart attack,
wake you up.
Are you going to come resuscitate me?
Ed, if you have a heart attack, I'll apologize at your funeral. How about that?
Wow, that's some consolation.
and I won't put a business card in your pocket.
Yeah, thanks. All right, moving on.
Moving on. What else we got for this week, man? I feel like that we've just scratched the surface so far.
We have, but now we're going to be back in a regular cadence now that Violet's home.
Yep.
Maybe we save a little for next time. The cold showers for sure. I'll think about that for the next week. Did you watch any episodes of Alone?
I didn't get a chance to get any alone time in. Sorry.
Okay, no Alone.
I'm not sure.
What about, Again, what about this metaverse thing you were talking about?
So, we need to carve out, and some of the feedback, we didn't get all the way into all of our feedback. Some of the feedback that's come out is, some of these off topics that we get onto, not everybody's into, I mean, they like when we're talking about health and produce and things like that. Sometimes a lot of people aren't too jazzed about the crypto conversation per se, and probably may run into some people that are not metaverse folks. But you know what? You and I are cutting edge people. I mean, anybody that knows Ed Bertaud and Craig Slate, they know, by golly, we're forefronters. We're on the forefront. We're the front of the idea freight train, if you will. And the metaverse is upon us, my friend. And, I don't know. Are you familiar with? Do you know anything about it? Before I mention metaverse? Have you ever heard of it?
Not in this context. So I know the context of meta, and how it's used, in the English language, but not metaverse. No.
Well, I mean,
of itself, something that would be about the thing, right? So, like, if you were talking about, a podcast about a book on podcasts or something like that, right? That would be meta. So, but metaverse, not quite sure.
So metaverse, it comes from a book some dude wrote back in 92. Mason, Laura, who was the guy? Do y'all know who that guy was? Science fi book. It's sci-fi.
Neil Stevenson. Laura called from the back room.
Yeah. So and Laura's a sci-fi as well as a reader.
The book is Snow Crash.
Apparently, the book is Snow Crash.
Snow Crash.
And all of his books are freaking gold.
All of his books are freaking gold, is what she says.
Yeah,
she's a big fan.
So, everybody, there you go. If you're into the sci-fi, and maybe if you're not, maybe go get this dude's books. But Snow Crash, anyway, it's where the word comes from. It comes from this book, Snow Crash. And basically what it is it is outside of the universe that we exist in. It's basically now become the terminology for the pseudo world that lives within the World Wide Web, if you will. There used to be this game my girls played when they were kids called Sims. So it's a simulated world that you played on your computer back then. Well, imagine Sims blown up into, like I say, 1,000 times. Are you familiar with Sims, a game? You ever heard of that, Ed? Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So most everybody knows what Sims is. And so this metaverse, so it's not just a Sims game, and it's not, I mean, this is like becoming a world where there's literally economies being formed. buying and selling real estate and transactions and people living outside of this universe into this new universe, which is the metaverse. And I mean, this dude's, it's getting, so Mark Zuckerberg this week, he's the dude that's the CEO, he's the founder of Facebook, if you did not know. But basically, he announced to his company people that, over the next 5 years, the metaverse for Facebook is going to become the biggest part of their business. He's putting a stake in the ground, going after it. So, we need to dig into it more. I'm going to look into it more, but you need to start researching metaverse and what's happening, because it's the next big thing. And people will dial back to episode 14 of the Fresh CrEd and think, wow, those guys were on the front end of that freight train of ideas, and look at them. You'll be like, yeah, we knew that was coming. So a lot of talk. So yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. Like I say, I've looked at some of the websites and stuff. I've yet to get me a bot. What do they call that? When you make yourself a character. There was actually a movie.
An avatar?
Avatar, yes. I haven't made myself an avatar yet, but you make yourself an avatar and then you start living in this town. So I don't know. I'm wondering about being a produce, like a like a produce seller, like a, veg trapper or a squash peddler, something like that.
I can see you with thinking. With like a, I don't know, like a leather jacket and a fur hat, like Davy Crockett.
Trapping veg.
All right. So what you're saying is, go ahead.
I was going to say, you need to capitalize on like a vegetable stand in the metaverse.
That's what I'm saying.
You can just stand out there, peddle your wares.
You'll finally have that produce stand you wanted.
Yeah.
You know what? I think, the more, in fact, I've already been kicking around my head. You guys are just motivating me. It'll be called the Trap House. Craig's Veg Trap House.
Just Craig's Trap House, I think, has a ring to it. I like that.
You like that? Ed, what do you think? Craig's Trap House?
I think you need a whole separate podcast for metaverse, crypto. This might be a spinoff. I don't know.
Well, you know what? That's funny you mentioned that. I've had somebody else make reference to a spinoff podcast off of here. So I think Mason thinks there might be some legs to he and I doing a crypto metaverse pod. So I don't know. Nice. He didn't say metaverse. He didn't mention that, but he mentioned crypto. But you got to come along for the journey. So if we spin this dude off, it'll just be another one. We'll have to get more hats.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with the universe I'm in. So another virtual flatland or whatever you're calling it, metaverse.
Metaverse.
Yeah. I'll try to tag along.
Yeah. I got to work on my emoji, or not my emoji, what, the avatar. I got to work on my avatar, though. I'm got to think that.
Can I help with that? I'd like to help with that.
Nope. No, I don't think you would be really a lot of help. I don't think you or Mason or Laura, anybody would be help. I'm going to do that on my own. I've already got it in mind. I'm thinking John Travolta from 1974, 72. When was Saturday Night Fever done? You ever seen him walking down the street at the very intro of the movie? And you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man. Man, I can only tell you, me cruising down the street with a can of paint and white pants like John T was doing. Holy cow.
Wow. That's not where I thought you were going to go with that. I thought you were going to go to Urban Cowboy, but okay.
No. Well, I could have gone with
Corndogs, Coors, Cutting a Rug, Urban Cowboy, John Travolta, not Saturday Night Fever.
So I was, that was my older years, so I became a Bud and Sissy fan. In fact, I thought that was, but the thing about that movie that drove me out of my mind was little gal that's daddy did oil. There ain't
Pam.
Nobody. Pam, that's correct. Ain't nobody going back to Sissy. I don't care. That was such a there's nobody, and you go up to that
know
Houston
how
apart.
many times I have said that. You have no idea how many times I've said that.
That's where they messed up that movie. It's like, I mean, you know, I watched it many times just to see if he made a different decision, and he kept making the same damn one, going back to that stinking trailer. It's like, dude. So, anyway, but yeah, you know, yeah, the Coors cutting a rug, and you know what? And I forgot Copenhagen. I don't do that no more, but you know, my beer joint you can have Copenhagen at my place. So I got to think about that. Copenhagen, Coors, cutting a rug. What was the other one?
Metaverse.
No, the C's. What was the C's? Coors,
Corndogs.
Corndogs. That's it. Corndogs, Coors, Copenhagen, and cutting a rug. Man, that's going to be in the metaverse. I'll have that in the metaverse too. I'll have my Greg's Veg House, so you can come get you some good old squash, or you head up to do some rug cutting at the Coors, Corndogs, Copenhagen, cutting a rug, Cowboys and Cowgirls. I don't know.
Yeah.
Work on that. Now, you know what? I'm going to patent that. But anyway, I guess it's going to be fun in the metaverse. I look forward to all you guys joining me there. We'll have a podcast in the metaverse. You know, we could do that too. We could within the metaverse, we could have the Fresh CrEd podcast in the metaverse.
Let me ask, folks. Is there golf, fishing, or hunting in the metaverse?
There is. You could have your own golf course, Ed. Oh. You could actually design and have your own golf course. You could have Ed's Golforama.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's like literally anything here in the real world. There would just be a version of it in this metaverse. And honestly, I think that if we don't blow ourselves up, that eventually we're going to be living a lot more. Instead of interacting with the computer or your phone physically, you're going to tap right into this metaverse and you're just going to do all your stuff there. It'll be a pretty wild thing. Just digitize our lives.
Yes. So for those of you that, you know, unfortunately don't want us to get off topic, this is topic for us. All right. Well, we'll continue to explore. Put that in we'll get the feedback on metaverse discussion. See what everybody thought about that. Anything else, Ed?
Kind of fun time of year for golf fans. Actually, Anna Norquist just won the AIG Women's Open. You know, nice. It was in Carnoustie, so they're quite a bit ahead of us in time. So she just won, and then it's the playoffs, FedEx Cup playoffs. Kind of a unique situation. Whereas with the hurricane hitting the East Coast, they actually canceled play today, and they're going to finish the fourth round tomorrow. And if they don't, then it'll wind up being a 54-hole event, which kind of stinks. You know, everybody would want to play all 4 days. So this is the first playoff event. You know, it's the top 125.
Yeah.
And then the top 70 from this event go to the BMW Championship. Owings Mills, Maryland is the site for that next week. And then they go on to the Tour Championship in Atlanta.
So is it the 70 out of this event go to the next one?
Mm-hmm. That's BMW.
So Ryan didn't. Yeah, he's out.
No, he's still. So their cumulative points. So I think as I was looking at the FedEx Cup, I mean he'll lose ground, but he's still within the 70 last time I checked.
All right, because I know. Yeah, I was thinking that I was trying to remember how they did it, but it is a cumulative points. Cool. Mm-hmm. All right, so he'll be back now. Where are they at next week? I know they're in New Jersey this week. Where are they next week?
Owings Mills, Maryland.
Maryland. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You going up?
Unfortunately, I'd love to. That just snuck up on me again this year, but who knows? Maybe I'll make it to Atlanta. I've been to that one before. The Tour Championship in Atlanta is really cool. You know, it's only 30 players, so and there's no cut. It's pretty neat. And Atlanta, for such a big city, they do a pretty good job. I mean, I remember being impressed with transportation to and from the event. Like Coca-Cola has a facility nearby, and they let folks park there and bus them back and forth, which isn't totally unique, but And I think all kids get in free, and they kind of are on the forefront of a lot of that stuff. So I think at least.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, bud. Well,
and football.
I think
football's coming.
I guess yeah, it's here.
It's here.
We talked a little bit about, I think, the Cowboy training camp on our last pod, and now training camp has ended, and I don't know if it's today. It's up in the air. We're supposed to have my fantasy football draft later today, but then I heard some rumblings that they may get pushed to another week. But
I mean, you're a big Cowboys fan. What do you think about Dak being back?
I love Dak. Always have. I loved him from his Mississippi State days. I like him as a human. I like him as an attitude. I think he's a winner. Be in Dallas, whenever you're the quarterback, if you're not posting up Super Bowls, you're going to have at least 50% of the population that hates you. Just the way it's always going to be. They never love you until you actually post a Super Bowl. And
I just hope he's fully healed for his sake. I mean,
for his sake.
I really thought that was a career-ending injury. I mean,
everybody did, and normally that's what I say. Normal people, it would be. That's what I'm saying. He's just the kind of guy that he overcomes. I mean, he did not have his childhood was challenging. I don't know if you knew. I mean, he lost his brother. Of course, he lost his mother to cancer. He was super close with his mom. And then this last year, he lost his brother to, I believe it was suicide in the last year. But you just seldom hear about him from a complaining or feeling. He's almost always got such a positive spirit and hard work, and he owns whatever, right? And again, I'm like you. I hope he's healed well. I hope he does well. I hope he proves all the haters wrong. We'll see. But for me, I'm in Dak's corner, man.
Yeah, he's definitely got a good attitude. Pack. I was just thinking it'd be interesting if you could put like an attitude all pro team together. Like, in other words, like an attitude all stars. Like if you got all players with good attitudes, what they could do. Like I was thinking about JJ Watt, like if you could put JJ on the same team as Dak and like all these positive individuals on one team, it'd be interesting to see just from an attitude perspective what it would do to their, forget the playing ability, just attitude.
Yeah, no, I got you. I mean, I think that, you've played enough and been on enough teams and sports. I mean, attitude really, it drives, whether it's at work or on the football field or whatever. Attitude is such a huge thing in terms of achieving and success and stuff like that, and yeah, but that would be interesting to see if you took a lot of positive guys, and he takes a lot of grief just because he has been so successful. But, Tom Brady's got a pretty good attitude, man. Tom Brady, he's very intense. He intends, he plays to win. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'll probably get lots of hate mail because I know one of those lightning rod dudes out there that everybody likes to attack. But, I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not a Buccaneers fan. But, the guy was fourth string when he joined the Patriots, for crying out loud. I mean, there was even a question if he would actually make that team when he showed up. And so whatever. I think he's got a pretty good attitude, but the attitude's key in life. And if you eat well, if you eat lots of vegetables and you fast, you will have a good attitude, my friend. It'll help. I don't know if you have a good attitude or not, but it'll certainly help for sure.
It will.
Feeling better definitely makes you have a better attitude. No question about that.
I'd agree with that. Well, for those that gave feedback that a shorter pod might be better, sorry, we'll try again next time.
I warned you guys. I warned you.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even scratch the surface, but
yeah.
Anyway,
we're going to talk.
What do you think?
Talk vaccines. We're going to talk vaccines, but we're going to have to save that. So.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe you could do a spinoff. Yeah. Maybe you can do that when I go on vacation. You have a special guest to fill in.
I guess vaccine person. All right. Yeah, we could maybe do that. Yeah. So
right.
We'll save the hot topics for later. It has been, we're not too far over, but all right. Well, let's get the heck out of here. Let's go live out this Sunday. Live it. Don't become attached to anything. You understand? Go love everything, but do not be attached to anything. Make that your goal, buddy. That's the quote of the day.
Well, 33,000 steps yesterday. I wasn't attached to much. I was moving the entire time. So
you are, man. 33,000.
Yeah.
I think you had it tied to the dog's tail, just like that commercial.
Yeah, right. All right. Well,
Ed, do the legal closings of all of our places we can be found and located.
Follow us at the Fresh CrEd on Instagram, at CrEd Fresh on Twitter, and the Fresh CrEd on YouTube. Send us your comments, questions, concerns. We'd love to send you a cap while supplies last, as Craig mentioned earlier in the pod. That's it.
Ed, Mason, Laura, it has been an absolute pleasure. It's great to be back. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a great Sunday and a great week. Take care, and we are out. See y'all later. Take care.
See ya.